Broads Media.
I'll take the point. I will take the point. In Toronto, on the road, you're down 3-1 after Auston Matthews pantses everybody. 3 straight bingos. Now, honestly, I thought that some of those were from very far out. And I'm acknowledging, Matthews has 45 goals on the season. 45! So I know that dude can light the lamp from everywhere, but seriously, I thought Ersson probably could have had the first goal and the third goal. He's got a magnificent release. He is so deceptive. He's got the pure unbelievableness of the power and the accuracy. It's literally one of the greatest shots ever in the history of hockey. But, dude, did anybody else think some of those were savable? Two of them. And the power play for the second goal, crazy angle, rips it. That's the one I tip my cap more than most, even if it's perfectly placed. Hey, Ersson, I need you to be sharper there. But I love the grit. I love that this team plays with the meat and potatoes and won't give up. Hathaway gets one to get you within reach. And then TK on the power play after he missed a goal earlier on the penalty kill. But, of course, Travis Sanheim followed it up with a little Bobby Orr, if you will. Wow. All right, now I got some news to share with everybody, and I'm going to be consistently driving this home until March 28th, so just giving you the warning signs now. We have more Broads Media content coming your way. Coffee with Broads is back starting March 28th, which is opening day. Join the Broads Media membership here on YouTube for $4.99 a month, and you will have access to the Coffee with Broads live streams every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. It'll be laid back, super chill, very interactive with the chat. Also, there's a Broads Media Discord channel, too, that is currently active as we sit here and talk, where we will communicate live when games are going on, talking about the action in real time. So nothing changed in regards to the current pods. There's just an added bonus if you want more of this obnoxious asshole in your life. I'm looking forward to starting Coffee with Broads live streams again March 28th. And make sure if you're interested, you grab your membership today. So all jokes aside, a point here when the New Jersey Devils lose and you look at the Metropolitan standings every morning, before I wake up and even pet my dog, before I wake up and even take a piss, before I get up and even communicate with my wife and daughter, you know what I do? Metropolitan standings. Hit the refresh button on the good old ESPN app. The NHL app is giving me a hard time. Not very enjoyable. So I go ESPN app. It makes me feel uncomfortable because as much as ESPN has the rights to the NHL now, it never feels like a true marriage. Anyway, I don't know why that just snuck in there. But anyway, I look at the damn Metropolitan standings because I need to get a pulse on where everything's locked in. If there were some West Coast games, and what do you know? The Devils can't figure it out, and your next opponent, the Devils, in the outside barn up in MetLife. So I want you to do some damage and make this baby count, dude. Make it hurt. Now, we still have to wait for some updates on 2 key important pieces to this squad. Cam York goes down. Delorier does his best to stand up for the boys. And then you had Sean Couturier after putting the C on his chest. Now, let's go down that avenue for just a second here. John Tortorella is a master, all right, because we bickered at him and we were asking him nonstop since he put on that tiny little ass logo on that sweater he's been rocking, unless that's a pin. Maybe it's a pin, but that super tiny ass logo on the black zip up, it looks kind of clean. It looks kind of smooth. But the second John Tortorella has been here, he's been asked nonstop, who's the leader? Who's the captain? I'm not gonna put anybody in a sweater with the C unless I feel like they deserved it. Now get the hell out of my face. face. Isn't that sort of how it went? Yeah, I think so. I think I remember that. And essentially, he knew exactly what was going to happen. He was waiting for Sean Couturier to get healthy. He slapped on a letter with Scott Lawton because he was big time last year, as much as anybody could be in that room during the dysfunction and during the horrible times. The respect that Scott Lawton got was so valuable, so important. You put the A on his chest, but nobody gets the strong C. And the reason why is it was obviously going to be Sean Couturier. He is a real pure leader, but what Tortorella needed to do was play the psychological game a little bit, because that's always in John Tortorella's bag. And he was also waiting for Coots to come back and pretty much just show what his worth is. And it didn't take very long. It took the first half of his first season back to pretty much show how overwhelming his veteran leadership is and how he approaches his job nonstop. He's a true, legit locker room leader, and Tortorella knew that. That's why nobody was getting handed anything. And what was the purpose to give Coots it when he wasn't healthy yet and when he wasn't available yet? Because you don't know how it's going to go. If you're dealing with the back injury at his age after all the hockey and you miss a significant amount of time, what are the odds that you return and look this unreal and this unbelievable automatically? I would have thought maybe at the middle stage of next year, you get a whole year under your belt just to feel what that brutal season is like, and the grind and the back-to-backs and the intensity and taking hits where you're not wearing a different color jersey because your teammates are afraid to put any pressure on you. You don't want to injure yourself in a stupid little practice. So it's not that anymore. These are the big boys, right? The bodies are getting thrown around, and you're trying to win serious puck battles in the corner. And Coots not only didn't even need the full season, it took him one All-Star break to show his dominance again. Now, I bet if you put John Tortorella on the lie detector test, he would have anticipated a longer time too. But this was his plan. This was his idea. This was his philosophy, and we're actually starting to watch it blossom in front of us. Same thing with what he said about Morgan Frost. We're watching that play out in front of us. Same thing he said about Travis Konechny. We're watching it play out in front of us. Same thing he said about Owen Tippett. We're watching it play out in front of us. Hell, I remember even watching a lot of the beat reporters who were at practice in Voorhees taking screenshots and pictures of Tortorella speaking to Cam York when he first got to town. And if you remember the way that he pretty much approached that with the media and all, typical John Tortorella way, we're watching that play out right in front of us. You see the common theme? John Tortorella was the right guy to be handed the keys during this situation. And if you're not seeing the results as clearly as I am, with not just the overall team play, but the individuals too, then what are we talking about here, right? I mean, come on, get those damn eyeballs checked, because it's smacking me right in the face. Speaking of Frost, though, there was a mistake out there, and that does happen. That overtime goal, I don't know what was going on when he came off the bench, but when you have two guys essentially going to the one guy with the puck, well, guess what? Someone's flying on the far post, and when you give Willie Nylander the opportunity like that, more times than not, he's going to make you pay. And speaking of changes, I thought the first goal came at a very awkward time with the change. I don't know how you let Auston Matthews just be free by your own blue line while they're trying to make a quick transition when you're trying to get new bodies out there. Let's go. You cannot let him, out of all people. All right, sometimes you fall asleep if it is Nylander. Sometimes you fall asleep if it's a John Tavares because you just don't think he's at the top tier part of his game anymore, and that's fine. But Auston Matthews, my man has 2 goals at that time because he didn't score his first goal yet. That was his first of the night. Dude, in what world? Like, what are we doing? You have to have a focus on him. Go grab those Howie Roseman binoculars that stay at the link. All right, go snag those and watch. Auston Matthews, every time he's on the ice, can't be falling asleep like that. It's crazy. I hope Coots is okay, though, Because that would be so disappointing and so devastating to have such a cool event happen up in New York and we get robbed of our big-time pieces a part of this. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if that doesn't stop this team. They got balls. They do. They have toughness, man. They play a ridiculous game. I saw Morgan Frost enter the opposing blue line. Now, keep in mind, full disclosure, I was feeding Brooklyn at the time, so I was doing a double dip, and I'm trying to rock her. I'm trying to give her the bottle. I'm talking to the wife. I remember turning my head and catching just the very beginning, what I thought was the beginning of the replay, and what it looked like to me. I'm just saying it was a quick turn and glam. Whoa, 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 whoa. Caught it right in the perfect slow-mo view of it, and it looked like he entered the offensive zone. He almost fakes a clapper like he might rim it hard for the other forward to go to the right side of the net, see if maybe he could beat the defenseman and set something up from behind the goal line, or just fake put it in the corner to maybe establish a forecheck on his own. Stops on a dime, turns around, cuts towards the middle of the ice, and finds Owen Tippett in around the high slot area, who had a fantastic chance to score but just couldn't. What? That's what Morgan Frost now does. That's how he operates. We're watching the John Tortorella experience play out right in front of our minds. Minds. I'm losing my mind. That's what's happening here. We have some text messages. We have some phone calls. We'll throw some of these around. Do I ever think about having a goal scorer like Auston Matthews? Every single second. Every second I breathe. This entire show, since I hit start record, it was basically foaming out the mouth because I just want to sit there, have my mouth water up with my saliva, and just, what? Whenever I'm watching Flyers hockey, because I have a 45 goal scorer in February. February 16th, is that the date today? February 15th, right? It's February 15th, and this dude's sniffing fitty. Yes, of course, I would do anything. Connor Bedard comes back from injury, nonchalant, putting up numbers on the stat sheet. Connor McDavid closes his eyes and accidentally walks into a 5-point night. You saw what Nathan McKinnon was able to do when you played the Colorado Avalanche. Do you remember what Kucherov did when you played the Tampa Bay Lightning? Yes. I watched Sidney Crosby with the Pittsburgh Penguins hoist a cup and then a cup and then a cup, and it was one of the most beautiful rides I've ever seen. I hate the Penguins to death, but I love me some Sidney Crosby. He's the greatest player my eyes have ever witnessed, and his greatness speaks for itself. And I remember watching what that was like from a distance, and yeah, at times there was pain involved, but now removing myself from the emotions. Sidney Crosby's the greatest. Sidney Crosby's so good. Sidney Crosby, when you think of the leadership and the cup-winning ability and the dominance and dealing with the concussions, and yeah, you know what? There was a time where maybe he cried to the refs. I don't give a damn, because by the end of this, there's no one greater than Sidney Crosby. Whew, all right, we did a little Sidney Crosby rant. Maybe I expected that to happen when we see the Penguins again, but not in a random game against Toronto. But greatness speaks for itself. Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Sidney Crosby. These are all in the same family. Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Sidney Crosby. Muhammad Ali. What else is out there? Conor McGregor, Roman Reigns, Sidney Crosby. Just saying. Rasmus News. Did that piss you off, bros? I was hoping to unload him. It's an excellent point of reference here. That Rasmus Ristolainen thing, it was starting to catch, not fire, but definitely some buzz that there's some weirdness going on. Is the illness part of what's happening with Rasmus? What's the deal? Looks like he's going to miss some time, and that sucks because I don't know if it was a high probability that he was out of town, but it was at least being discussed to a surface level, and I just would have been willing to see what would have happened. I would have expected him to probably stay if I had to lean in one direction. So it's not as if, let's say, and knocking on wood here, but if something were to happen to Scott Lawton, it's pretty well known Scott Lawton's going to be on the move, right? And if they don't, it would be malpractice by the Flyers, and it would be a huge disappointment, and the front office would be taking a step back. I already have them on a very high love affair list for me. And if Keith Jones and Danny Briere screw this up because they get cold feet and nervous, I'm sorry, that would be a huge knock, and I'd be taking points away from them. That's an automatic. The Rasmus thing, I don't think that was an automatic, but it does suck because I just wanted to hear it. I'm willing to see what doors open at that time of the year for a team that is clearly overachieving. The entire league knows that, but they also are trying to value what they can do with this group and with this team. And the ceiling, well, it's as high as it could possibly be. It's as high as the ultimate prize. Because in this sport, you never know. Perfect. Here's another text here. Is the team a playoff lock? I just brought up I thought the ceiling could be the whole damn thing. Kissing the Lord Stanley. All of them. I don't care if it's on the road. It would be lovely to be at the Wells Fargo Center. I don't care if it's on the road, though. Hey, I'll take it. Okay? If it happens to be on the road, I guess I'll take it. All right. Is this team a playoff lock? Yeah, I think so. It would be Eagles-level historic collapse if we do not see the postseason. And that's not going too far. That's not too harsh. It's real. Dude. These teams behind them in the Metropolitan stink. So if these teams stink, unless a New Jersey or somebody else goes on a 20-game win streak, all right, they pull off what Edmonton was doing, and you just stay at a reasonable pace, and somehow they catch you because they go on an otherworldly run that would happen only once every 90 years, then fine, maybe we can change my tone if that hypothetical plays out being true. But if not, then that means the Flyers would have the opposite of what Edmonton did. They go on a 20-plus game losing skid, and a team like the Devils could go 500 the rest of the way and squeeze right by you, right? Something like that. Dude, this is a playoff team lock. Yeah, and if they fall apart because the Flyers front office make changes that they're not fans of, I'd have to imagine, and Scott Lawton recently was talking about this, that he knows where he stands with the Flyers. That's because, like I mentioned, the people in the front office do this the right way. And they probably brought him in, sat him down, and was like, look, this is what it is, dude. We love you to death. We think you are excellent. You're the only one that wore a letter. I really don't even have to sell you that you are amazing. You are fantastic. You know that. We love you. We have to do what's best right now. And Sean Couturier and Travis Konechny and Sanheim and Cam York and Owen Tippett and everybody else who's a part of this organization, no one's being hidden from the truth. They may disagree with maybe passing along Scott Lawton at the deadline or something like that, but in regards of going about it the proper way, making tough, difficult decisions, but being open and honest with the direction and all of the players who currently dress, the reason I bring all this up is I would be shocked if the locker room completely falls apart, because this wouldn't be a sign of mismanagement or a sign of incompetence or a sign of they don't know what they're doing. They're just randomly throwing random stuff at the wall in every single different direction, and they're clueless and lost. This is a very detailed plan. And John Tortorella won't let that impact some of the guys who play well and some of the guys who are playing strong. What, are you going to cry about it? Fucking tie up your skates, go out there and go drop them. If you have to, go score 2. Go give us a power play goal, will ya? You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's hear from my friends over at HelloFresh. HelloFresh is farmed, fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes that get delivered right to your doorstep. So skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every every single HelloFresh delivery. Now that's worth waking up early for. Go to HelloFresh.com/BroadsFree and use code BroadsFree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/BroadsFree with code BroadsFree. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. It's a shame that the Sean Couturier captaincy starts out with an 0-1 record. Do we have to strip the C? I don't want to take that to social media because I'm afraid of the responses. I'm afraid on how the actual replies would be, and I don't want to put myself through that time. I'm so happy for Couturier. I'm so happy for TK. TK's not going anywhere. They see what type of prize possession they have, right? This guy's a maniac, dude. Him and Giordano get into a little bit of whatever you want to call that. A dive, not a dive, playing tummy sticks as there's a back check up the ice. I wouldn't even necessarily call that a back check, but whatever. And he's in the box looking over at Giordano, running his mouth, and you see Gio pretty much saying, like, dude, you're a piece of shit, right? You're a shitty little pest. Here's Giordano at 40 years old. Probably had to mow his lawn in his New Balances that are white and blue. Maybe he has the Nike Monarchs, which is the Nike version of that. And he's sitting there grilling in jeans that look like they're from Wrangler and just a typical dad look. And then his 9 to 5 is going to clock in and play 20 minutes on the blue line for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And TK is busting almost 30 bingos on the year, just playing tummy sticks with them, playing around with little tummy sticks. It's outrageous. All right, let's go to some phone lines. Let's go to Sam. Wants to talk about Coots.
What's going on, bros? It's been a minute. I've been out here in Florence, and I just wanted to call and talk about my feelings about the Couturier being named captain and Travis Konechny getting that A. I'm really happy with this. You know, Coots has been with us for a long time, since 2011, and me being 21 years old, you know, he's been around since I was 9. And when I woke up this morning and I saw that he got the captain, tears started to swell up in my eyes because that child inside me that loved Coots and was so into that old team, it was just so elated, and I couldn't be happier. I'm getting choked up now. I couldn't be happier to have a leader that has been with us in that time and stuck with us, came back after a brutal injury, and has re-cemented himself as one of the best centers in the league. And boy, it's been fun watching Travis Konechny get better and better every year, every game. It's been great, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the season brings us. See you, bros.
What we're going to see, Sam, is a playoff run. How about that, though? We're getting tears for Coots. 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 It reminds me, though, of what Rhys Hoskins, Aaron Nola went through. They were playing with Odubel Herrera and Mike Alfranco. Now you're playing with Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott. We'll be talking about this the same way when Sean Couturier is playing in deep Eastern Conference Finals runs and the Flyers are putting legitimate success together. With Matvei Michkov, you figure out some Russian goalies, and apparently on Snow the goalie, Keith Jones recently, I didn't hear the clip, I just saw Crossing Broad or Snow the goalie tweet out the clip, and I was reading the headline with it. And it's pretty significant to hear the president of hockey operations throw out the idea of some of these Russian netminders when the Carter Hart stuff is going on. So if you're worried now that they might not have that franchise changer in net, Harrison can definitely do okay and do well and do fine. You definitely you definitely need another gear and a huge leap from that in general. And I thought Carter Hart could be that, but obviously that whole thing is a sticky mess, and we'll just figure out what happens whenever we get any sort of legal update from what's happening with the courts. Yeah, I mean, Jonesy has his eye on exactly what he wants. And when this all starts to become a reality, and we're not too far away from that, it will be here way sooner than you know. When that's the case, Coots will look back at some of his early rosters oh my God, I kind of want to do it right now, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to save that experience for another time. Today's not the day. Today's the day to really appreciate a win. I almost said a win in Toronto. Oh, I'm sorry. That's sort of what it feels like, though. You don't want to always play the moral victory card, but the fact that you can get a point out of that, especially when Toronto was going off, and really when Auston Matthews was tearing it up heavily, there was this massive momentum switch where the Flyers looked to be stuck in quicksand for a good 7 or 8 minutes. The puck was being shot from every which way. Then Toronto would be the first on the loose pucks. They'd probably cycle it up high, walk the blue line, pepper Erson some more, maybe even move the puck around from crease from the goal line, back door across the crease, and here's Erson with the big save. He did come up with some large ones there, which needed to happen, no doubt. Could have even swung it way out of proportion than it even was at that time when Toronto grabbed those 3 goals. Auston Matthews is crazy. Auston Matthews is ridiculous. I just couldn't imagine doing that. Imagine not having to worry about being scratched or not playing on that particular night. You're in the lineup every night. You're a number 1 line guy. You're wearing a letter on your chest. You're getting paid millions of dollars, and you can just walk into a night and put up 3 points casually. What does that feel like? Forget the fan perspective of it, right? Because we were asked that earlier on the text board. Forget the fan. Imagine being the guy who can do it. I was worried about chipping the puck off the glass, getting it down into the neutral zone so I could get the first line D pair 30 seconds of rest. That's it. Don't get scored on and do that. I want Auston Matthews lifestyle. Scoring. Playing top line minutes. Scoring 45 goals halfway through February. Unreal. All right, everybody. I love you all to death so much. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you, and we'll be talking very, very soon.